Hey guys, this is a little video I wanted to put together just to kind of give you a background on who I am, where I'm at in my life, and kind of ask you guys for a little advice as well. Um, Maybe just start a conversation in general. We'll see where it goes. First off, name would help. I'm Matt, if you don't know that. 20, I'm 26, and I currently live in San Francisco. I'm originally from Minnesota, and I went to school in Arizona, went to Arizona State, and I lived in the Phoenix area for 8 years. I just moved to San Francisco about 6 months ago. Uh, Actually, 6 months ago today, now that I think about it. So, been here 6 months, and I like it. It's a very interesting city. I had visited 3 times before, and it's a really cool, diverse, hip kind of place, but I don't really feel like I don't feel a sense of identity here, and I don't know, I don't feel connected to it at all. I'm not quite sure why that is. I've had some good times while I've been here, and I've spent a lot of time just, walking around the city, exploring it, and it's a great place. I think I'm always gonna love the city, but I just don't know if I want to live here at this point. So, I don't have anything tying me down. I technically still am in school just because I moved, but that was because I had finished all the classes at ASU that I needed to, and I'm actually just taking online classes. So I'm still a student at ASU, but I'm taking online classes, so I can do that anywhere. And I should be graduating with my degrees. One is Earth and Space Exploration, second is Political Science. Um, I should be graduating with both of those at the end of next semester. So what I'm kind of thinking at this point is, stay here until, the semester's over, which is May, and at that point, maybe just move on. It's a really weird thing to think about because when I first moved here 6 months ago, I figured I'm the type of person who doesn't like to stay in any one place very long. I mean, I was in Phoenix for 8 years, but I was ready to go after, probably 2 or 3. But long story short, there, I had decided that I was going to go back to school because I had moved down there to go to college, and then I dropped out, and um, there was a lot of stuff that happened in my personal life that kept me there for a while, and then finally, rather than moving back to Minnesota and going to school there, or maybe moving somewhere else, I decided to stay and go back to ASU. Um, so anyway, I think I'm just kind of nomadic by nature. I don't like to stay in any one place for very long. So even though I love the city, I knew I wasn't going to be here for more than maybe 2 or 3 years. But it seems really odd that I would feel this way after just 6 months because I do like it so much here. But at the same time, like I said, there's something that I don't identify with, and maybe it's because even though I think I have a very West Coast mentality, it's just not what I grew up with. I don't know. Maybe that's a cop out. Who knows? Um, but those are the reasons. Now the question is, what do I do? Do I move, and where do I move to? There are 2 places that I have in mind. Like I said, I'm from Minnesota, but I'm actually from rural Minnesota. And when I was in high school, I always thought that pretty much up until my senior year, I had planned on going to the University of Minnesota, living in Minneapolis, doing that whole thing. I didn't do that, obviously, but I never lived in the Twin Cities, and I still want to do that. So that's an option, and I really do like the area. I just went back and visited again a couple months ago, and I love Minnesota. Um, I hated it when I was in high school, but like I said, it was a rural area, and when you're a kid, um, it's not really your option. You just are where you are. So it's a little different now, and I do love Minneapolis. So that's a possibility. Another one is Boulder, Colorado. I've been to Boulder just once, actually. I was there for 3 days about a year and a half ago, and I really love Boulder. Um, my best friend had an internship there for 3 months, and so that's why I visited. Um, but it's a great place, and I'm a real outdoors kind of person. So obviously Colorado is great for that. And I want to be near a metropolitan area, even though Boulder itself is not very large. I think it's something like 100 to 150,000 people, maybe a little larger. It is very close to Denver, but I don't actually want to live in Denver because I wasn't a huge fan of Denver. It kind of just reminded me of Phoenix, but at a higher elevation. Um, and anyone who's ever been to Phoenix or lived in Phoenix would kind of understand that, I guess. But just a lot of urban sprawl, not a lot of cultural aspects to it. So those are my two main choices. I'm entertaining other ideas, but I want wherever I go to be fairly inexpensive. Boulder would actually be, I think, a little bit more depending on where I chose to live and how many roommates. I mean, I'm sure I could find a place near the university with roommates. That would be pretty cheap. I'm not too worried about housing costs in either of those places because I know Minneapolis isn't that bad either. So um, anyway, uh, I don't know anyone in Colorado. I know people from Colorado. I don't know anyone who lives there other than acquaintances. Um, Minnesota, all my family's still there, so that's kind of another driving force as to why I would go there. But other places I've thought about moving would be like the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. I don't know how I feel about that. Also very cheap, but I'm not sure. I actually I should visit there before I really entertain that as a serious idea. But if you have any suggestions, um, I do want to be in or near a major metropolitan area. I am an outdoors type person. I obviously don't mind seasonal extremes. Being from Minnesota, having lived in Phoenix, I can take hot or cold. And wherever I go, I don't really expect to be there much more than, like I said, 2 or 3 years. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to offer those up. Um, I fly. My buddy works for an airline, so I fly for free, and I'd be happy to visit anywhere that you suggest that I may not have thought of. So I would like to keep it in the U.S. just because the chances of me getting a visa somewhere else, I think, are pretty much zero since I'm not gonna get a job to sponsor me, and I don't know. I've thought about teaching English abroad, in Asia somewhere maybe, or South America or Central America, but uh, I kind of strayed away from that for the time being. Maybe eventually, who knows? Um, yeah. So, any thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Feel free to comment on whatever you like, and I will talk to you soon.